Hoy estamos aquí para celebrar juntos la vida que Marilina y yo han decidido compartir y la promesa de entrega que se hacen el uno al otro. Estoy segura de que están emocionados ante el cariño de todos los que estáis aquí, muchos de los cuales habéis viajado miles de kilómetros para poder estar a su lado en un momento que para ellos es tan especial. Y no es de extrañar que esté este jardín lleno de gente hasta arriba, gente que tanto les quiere, porque si hay algo que hace de Marilina y yo, dos personas excepcionales, es la facilidad con la que regalan su amistad desde el minuto uno, sin esperar nada a cambio, y la capacidad que tienen para sacar lo mejor de los demás. Esto que ya les caracterizaba por separado antes de conocerse, solo ha ido más desde que están juntos.
I started getting to know Marilina and Joe a bit late in the game, a few months after they started dating, but they very quickly became some of the closest and most grounding and consistent people in my life. I can't believe how close we become and how much I've come to trust in and rely on both of them, and in less than 2 years. They even let me come to Argentina for a whole month with them before the wedding, including spending Christmas with their incredibly warm, generous, and entertaining family and friends.
Maru y Joe tienen mucho en común. Son profundamente generosos, tienen un gran sentido del humor y despiden una energía positiva que es absolutamente contagiosa, dentro y fuera de la pista de baile. Y precisamente así es como comenzó su historia, bailando.
Joe and Marilina met dancing salsa, masked, at a beautiful rooftop bar in Pittsburgh. She saw him on the dating app Bumble the next day, and fortunately for him, his charm from the evening before outweighed pictures that, debatably, did not accurately portray his handsomeness and forehead size. Marilina was immediately attracted to Joe's sharp sense of humor and silliness, consistency, curiosity, and of course, mad dancing skills. Joe was drawn in by Marilina's warmth, uniquely beautiful energy, and unparalleled mix of organizational abilities and chillness. Like many of us, he was probably also drawn in by the fact that she invited him to every social event in the city of Pittsburgh and always made him feel welcome and cherished. I'm sure we all have stories about Marilina's seemingly effortless way of caring for those around her. One memory stands out for me. Once, when I was very thirsty at a crowded concert and only had ice left in my cup, Marilina took it to hold and swirl, warming the ice in her hand so that I could have a little more water to drink. And of course, we all know that she spent hundreds of hours coordinating every aspect of this trip for all of us. While both Joe and Marilina clearly liked each other from the start, Marilina was initially, eating my hair, initially more physically affectionate in public. As the months passed, I noticed Joe expressing his affection in public more and more. He always wanted to be near her, whether this meant expertly pestering her or hugging her close, usually the mix of both, at which he excels. During the World Cup finals, when Marilina was more invested in the game than any non-Argentinian could ever imagine, and also going through a difficult time with her grandmother, her beloved grandmother, I remember walking into their apartment and asking Joe how he was. It was probably the most anxious and worried I ever seen him. She was watching the game, and he was watching her. He was ready for anything, to hug and comfort her, to celebrate with her, and to get her on the plane to Buenos Aires to see her grandmother shortly after the game. I'm not sure which was more palpable when Argentina won, Marilina's elation or Joe's relief. While Joe's way of caring may be a bit quieter than Marilina's, anyone who gets to know him will see how incredibly attentive, thoughtful, and genuine he is. And of course, this comes with the added bonus that he's absolutely hilarious.
Desde el principio, los dos sintieron un flechazo. A ella la cautivó lo divertido y curioso que era él. A él lo fascinó la naturaleza cálida, energética y a la vez serena de ella. Y desde entonces han sido compañeros de viaje. En las buenas y en las malas, Marilina y Joe se apoyan el uno en el otro. Que les toca pasar toda la noche en la fila del aeropuerto de Miami porque les cancelan un vuelo, la espera se hace soportable porque están juntos. Cuando Joe pasa por momentos estresantes, Marilina tiene la capacidad de hacer que sus preocupaciones resulten manejables. Ya sea cuando a él le chocaron el auto, o cuando se quedó varado en Alemania sin poder volver, ella logra, como por arte de magia, devolverle la calma, incluso cuando parece que de pronto nada está bajo control. Y cuando Argentina ganó el Mundial, en un momento difícil para Marilina por la salud de su abuela, mientras los demás veían el partido, Joe solo la observaba a ella, sin respiro, preparado para cualquier cosa, para celebrar la victoria del equipo con Marilina, a gritos, para abrazarla y para asegurarse de que llegaba al aeropuerto para volar a Buenos Aires a ver a su abuela. Pero no solo cuidan el uno del otro, Marilina y Joe cuidan también de todos los que están a su alrededor.
The beauty of Marilina and Joe's love is that it radiates outward and is like a fluffy cloud of warmth, laughter, care, authenticity, and of course comfort food that envelops and nurtures all of us. Their love does not restrict or diminish their other relationships. Rather, the beautiful energy that they create together is infectious and flows through those of us lucky enough to know them. I am the happiest and most secure I've ever been in my life, largely thanks to these two and the warm, reliable, and wonderfully eclectic community of which they are such a crucial part. I love you both, and I'm so happy that you found your mi amor.
A continuación escucharemos unas palabras de los testigos. We'll now hear from the witnesses, Eileen and Jack.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Jack Nugent. I'm Joe's older and more attractive brother. Actually, I didn't know, I'm going a little off script here, but I didn't know that Joe and Marilina met the first time masked. That's probably for the best. Joe and Marilina, thank you both for having me here and allowing me the opportunity to speak. I have a lot of memories growing up with Joe, playing with all the neighborhood kids, running amok in the neighborhood, playing tag, investigating the creek, riding bikes, playing video games. Joe and I were 3 grades apart in school. Excuse me. So as we started getting to middle school, high school, we often had our own activities, interests, and friend groups. And during that time in our lives, I've always found Joe with a solid group of friends around him, and clearly that hasn't changed. So there must be something that people like about him. He has always been an incredible athlete. He's very intelligent and hilariously funny. Seems to be a common theme there. I suppose those might be some of the reasons. I've always been impressed with you and everything you've accomplished, the places you've been, and your commitment to your passions. I'm proud of you. Mario, from the first time Amanda, Kane, and I met you, you felt like family. I can still remember when you met Kane. I think he was just under 2 years old. He was just immediately smitten with you, as were the rest of us. I'm sure by now you might have noticed that Joe can be a bit of a tease, a prankster. So if it ever becomes too much, I recommend applying the chokehold, at least until he taps out.
Oh, okay.
That should calm him down for a little while, at least. It has been in my experience. I'll tell a quick story that I remember from our childhood. Joe, you may not remember this, but you all should see why. I probably have a reason to. We were quite young. I was probably 6 or 7. Joe would have been 4 or 5. We were still in our house in Maryland, playing a game of hide and seek. And it was just me and him playing, so one would count, the other would go hide. It was my turn to hide. And I found what I thought was the perfect hiding spot, that he would never find me, and it turns out I was absolutely correct. The spot was in a linen closet underneath a shelf that was probably about 30 centimeters from the ground. That's about 12 inches for the Americans. Somehow I was able to contort myself into like a little pretzel and squeeze myself under the door, or under the shelf, and close the door behind me. And sat in there for a while, waiting for Joe to come find me. And after a little while, I was pretty sure he wasn't going to, so I was going to get myself out of there. But then I realized, I've got a problem here. I couldn't reach the doorknob under the shelf, so I was locked in there. So I started to panic a little bit, started beating on the door, calling out, and trying to get somebody's attention. I was in the upstairs linen closet. Everybody else was presumably downstairs. But anyway, after a little while, Joe came and opened the closet door. I squeezed out of there, and I was like, "Where were you? I was in there forever." And he goes, "I couldn't find you, so I got bored and went to go watch TV." Great. So you get a little bored. No, I'm scared of small spaces. But I'm just kidding. I can't fit in small spaces anymore. So anyway, I hope you two are always able to be patient, compassionate, and vulnerable with each other. I think as long as you don't play hide and seek with each other, you're going to be just fine. Thank you both. Congratulations.
Marilyn, Joe, les agradezco por regalarme este momento y honrarme con la posibilidad de hablar sobre el amor que hoy los une en este día tan especial. Joe, te agradezco por hacer a Marilyn brillar y seguir expandiéndose cada día, por hacerla sentir feliz y plena, por amarla profundamente tal cual es, por regalarle sonrisas y carcajadas todos los días, por contenerla y acompañarla. Te conocí a través de una foto de Bumble con una camisa hawaiana, mucha onda por cierto. Cuando me mostró tu foto, lo que me dijo es que eras open-minded y que habías viajado mucho, medio nerd y muy interesante, que tenían muchos gustos en común. Más allá de las camisas, ¿no? Hoy creo que no solo tienen muchos gustos en común, sino una forma muy valorable de ver la vida, que es encontrarle el lado bueno a las cosas, de compartir, de escucharse, de entenderse, de cuidarse, de tomarse el tiempo para disfrutar y ponerle color y música a todo. Hacen que todos los que están alrededor se contagien de felicidad y alegría, haciendo que cada momento con ustedes sea un regalo. Marilyn, sos de los mejores regalos que me dio esta vida. Sos mi gran amiga, mi hermana del alma. Amo cada parte tuya. Amo la forma de sonreír y de disfrutar la vida. Tenés siempre la palabra justa y el hombro disponible. Me ayudaste a entender que somos efímeros y que el poder está en el disfrute y en entregarse a cada instante. Amo cómo transmitís felicidad a todo lo que te rodea. Marilyn me dijo una vez que yo era una bomba atómica de amor, una onda expansiva de amor. Y la verdad es que creo que esta es la mejor metáfora de ustedes. Viven a través de amar cada instante, de disfrutarse, de elegirse, de entenderse, de escucharse, de darse lugar. Si bien viven en otro país, se sienten cerca porque siempre encuentran una manera de estar corazón con sus amistades. Les deseo que sean mejores amigos, compinches, mejores amantes, mejores parejas de baile en este baile que es la vida. Que elijan las canciones que quieren bailar y que ojalá siempre sean melodías felices, como bachata, salsa y zouk, que también saben bailar. Que para los tangos tengan la fortaleza de agarrarse fuerte de las manos y de bailar las melodías tristes, saliendo renovados y aún más sabios. Espero que esta unión les traiga aún más felicidad y amor a esta hermosa familia que ya son hoy. Los quiero un montón. A disfrutar esta celebración de amor.
Con vosotros arena para simbolizar el paso que dais hoy juntos. ¿La puedes agarrar? Marina, has traído arena de la costa argentina y de la Patagonia, de lugares que significan mucho para ti. Te representa a vos, a tus raíces, a tu vida hasta ahora. Joe, has traído arena de Carolina del Norte, de la tierra que te ha visto crecer y en la que has pasado tanto tiempo de tu vida. Te representa a ti, a tus experiencias y a tu vida hasta ahora.
You each have brought with you today sand to symbolize the steps you are taking together. The step. Marilina, yours is sand from the Argentinian coast and Patagonia, places that mean so much to you. It represents you, your roots, and your life until now. Joe, yours is sand from North Carolina, where you grew up and spent so much of your life. It represents you, your experiences, your life until now.
La arena que habéis traído cada uno es una mezcla de partículas de distintos orígenes, con granos de distintos tamaños y colores, cada uno con su propia historia. Así es también cada una de vuestras vidas, con diferentes influencias y una serie de decisiones que os han traído hoy aquí, rodeados de vuestra familia y amigos.
The sand you each have brought is a blend of particles of different origins with different sized and colored grains, each with its own story. So are each of your lives, with different influences and a series of decisions leading you here today, surrounded by your friends and family.
Este frasco simboliza la promesa que os hacéis hoy. Al mezclar las dos arenas que habéis traído, unís también las dos vidas que habéis llevado hasta ahora para construir un nuevo proyecto de vida en común. A partir de hoy, vuestras vidas quedan entrelazadas para siempre. Al igual que esta arena, seréis muy difíciles de separar.
This jar is a symbol of your commitment to each other starting today. By mixing the two sands you have brought, you are also binding the two lives you have led until now to build a life together for you both. Today, your lives become intertwined forever. Just like this sand, you will be very difficult to pull apart. It is now time for you to share your vows.
Ha llegado el momento de compartir vuestros votos.
Mi gordito. No, this was in English. I want it in English. Oh, you pretend I'm in Spanish. Me pasas. Yeah. No, I want to read it in English. No. Perdón, no te dije que yo me lo quería. Okay. Mi gordito. I might not be ChatGPT, but I promise to do my best. I can't believe we are here in Argentina with all these people who travel worldwide to share this moment with us. It's just insane. You are all insane. Also, it seems incredible to be here in front of you, joining my life with such a wonderful man. As you know, marriage was never really part of my plans or my dreams. And yet, since I met you, I knew I was going to spend my life with you. I guess it is true when they say, when you know, you know. Trying to express what I feel for you in words has been challenging. How do I express the overwhelming feeling that has swept through me since I found you in this life? To me, you are like Jimmy Jr. to Tina, like Troy to Abel, like Cheese to Charlie. You are my passion, my best friend, my favorite thing in the world. Your love turned my world upside down, but also set everything right. If I go back on time and talk to myself, I will say, don't worry. I would say, don't worry. Everything you are going through now, the confusion, the sadness, the feeling of being lost, all of this would lead you to the greatest love you could ever imagine. As Julio Cortázar says, andábamos sin buscarnos, pero sabiendo que andábamos para encontrarnos. I truly feel that every decision I made in my life, every place I've been, every person I've met, every loss, every little chess move I made in this life led me to you. Then absolutely everything was worth it. For a long time I had this idea that love had to be crazily intense, that if it didn't destabilize you, it wasn't true love. And I was so wrong. With you, I found love that centers, calms, motivates, and propels me. That kind of love that saves, builds, and expands. The same kind of love I remember seeing in my grandparents, and I thought these days was lost, so impossible to reach. And yet, you show me one more time that with you, nothing is impossible. I admire you so much, how perseverant you are when you want to get better at something. Your meticulousness, and I don't know if you pronounce it like that. How effortless we can discuss everything, especially my deepest fears and feelings. You are the best company I could ever ask for, even in your silence. Everything is better when I'm with you. Thank you, mi amor, for appearing in my life. Thank you for being my most significant teacher and for showing me my strengths and weaknesses. Thank you for being, my legs are finishing. Thank you for being my greatest mirror. Beside you, I am the best version of myself. Thank you for making me work on myself like I never done before. And that's the most important thing I can promise you today, to keep working on myself. Not just for me, but for us. I also promise to love and accept every version of you. When you're funny and sweet, but also when you're grumpy and super annoying. I promise to keep speaking English with a funny accent, because your frustrated face when you correct me is priceless. I promise to be your company in every nap. I promise always to be your co-pilot on the roads and always carry snacks. No, I'm not gonna try. Too quickly. I promise that in our home there will always be love, coffee and friends, and candles, a lot of candles. I promise to treasure and honor your love every day and never do anything to put that love at risk. I promise to be your dance partner until my legs can move, and to hold your hand until my last breath. And it's crazy how all these promises feel so easy for me to make, because loving you is the easiest and most natural things I ever done. Thank you again for joining me in this crazy adventure. Te amo con el alma.
Marilina, from the moment we first started seeing each other, I knew there was something special about you. It took me a while to fully understand what it was, but after I told you I wanted to take things slow around our second date, I began to see it. It looks like taking it slow didn't really work out the way I planned, but I couldn't be happier for that. After that date, I came to know a woman with an insatiable thirst for life who is always striving to live in the moment. I came to know a woman with a spirit so bright and filled with love that it spills out into those around her. And most importantly, I came to know a woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. There have been many moments that have made me feel this, but the one that sticks in my mind the most is watching you sing and dance around the house to Los 40 Argentina radio. I remember thinking that I don't know how I attracted something so beautiful into my life, but that I would do whatever it takes to keep it and always make you feel like singing and dancing. I love how you're always pushing us to try new things, to travel, to see the world, and to even experience home more deeply. Your ability to plan things as soon as you think about them has pushed me to get back out of my comfort zone, and that is somewhere I always want to be. Traveling and exploring new places with you is another thing that made me positive that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. As much as I complain about taking photos when we're traveling, and as much as I love ruining them, I love even more how you were able to capture the memories we share together and create a life that is truly worth looking back on and cherishing. And most importantly, even when things aren't going as planned, just having you by my side makes everything okay. Whether it be spending a night in a Miami airport, or stuck in a tunnel in a train, or being terrified of losing our belongings on a jet ski, I know I have you by my side to be a source of stability and peace. But this is of peace and stability you bring doesn't stop at traveling. You bring this to me every day of my life. And while this stability is wonderful, you always push me to be a better person. You keep me honest, you keep me present, and you keep me loved. All of those things allow me to grow into the person I want to be, and for that I'm eternally grateful. And luckily for the world, it doesn't stop at me. Watching the way you care for your friends and family has taught me how to love those around me more deeply, and has opened my eyes to the depth that relationships can have. I feel so lucky to have a teacher like you in my life. And because we met dancing, I think I'm allowed at least one dance analogy. I feel a balance in our relationship that I never thought I would have the ability to create. The connection I have with you makes me feel like I can always find stability. When you push, I push. When I pull, you pull. Always meeting in the middle to find balance. And finding the sense of balance is what allows us to create something more beautiful together than either of us could alone. And I promise you that I will always be there to find that balance. I promise to always listen to you with my full spirit, to be present with you, and to dance with you both literally and figuratively for the rest of our lives. Down.
Mutua que os habéis hecho, os declaramos casados. ¡Felicidades y a celebrarlo!